Satan, even when they worship the Antichrist or the false prophet, they are ultimately worshiping who?
Satan.
When Satan is there, he's not opposed to any of that, because he's empowering all of that to happen. He says so, and he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast whose fatal wound was healed. Verse 13. He, that is, the false prophet, he performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven to earth in the presence of men. Now, in the Bible, who is one who calls fire from heaven?
God.
God. In the Old Testament, who?
Moses.
Did Moses call fire down from heaven?
Elijah.
Elijah. Remember? Elijah called fire down from heaven. Remember Elijah on verse 18. Is it 1 Kings 18? Chapter 18. On the thriller in Manila. Is what I call it. The 1 Kings 18. 1 Kings 18, where Elijah and the prophets of Baal are there, you remember? And so you know the story. Elijah calls down, he's worshiping, he makes a sacrifice, and then God lifts up the trench and the stones with fire, and he burns up the sacrifice, and Elijah basically wins the heavyweight champion. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. For a minute, in chapter 19, he's hiding in a cave.
From Jezebel.
Because Jezebel was after him. That woman chasing him. So it says in 13, he performs great signs so that even he makes fire come down out of heaven to earth in the presence of men, which adds more credibility that this person is a person of great authority and power. Right? So all of this miraculous stuff is only adding significance and credence to the false prophet and the Antichrist, and ultimately Satan himself. Verse 14.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So how can the devil make fire come out of heaven while on earth if God controls fire in heaven?
Remember, it says that it was given him to make war with the saints, verse 7, and to overcome them, and authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation was given to him. And so God obviously is allowing this to take place. But remember, his time is short. In fact, you turn back there, it says, for this reason rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because of the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has only a short time. So God allows the devil to have this type of authority, only for a short period of time. Now, remember also, it says that in verse 5 of chapter 13, there was given to him a mouth speaking arrogant words and blasphemies, and authority to act for 42 months was given to him. So his period of authority is short-lived. And he's going to maximize every second of it.
So he had access to heaven to make that happen?
Yes.
The devil has access to heaven?
Just remember last week we talked about Job? Remember when Satan is part of Job, Genesis and the book of Job is written at the same time period. Satan comes into heaven and he's having a conversation with God about Job.
About you too.
And in fact, it says if he's the accuser of the brethren, he would have to have access to God to be accusing him, accusing the
And
brethren.
access to God and that understand access to heaven.
Well, where's God live?
Well, he lives in heaven, he's also everywhere, so.
Yeah, he's omnipresent.
Right.
Yeah, but if Satan is talking directly to him, he has access to him. God allows that.
And only,
Later on, he will know, after he's thrown into the lake of fire, he will no longer have access.
it's God's given authority to Satan. He just don't get this authority.
Right. I will say he's given access.
Okay.
Now God can take him out.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, you remember Job's buddies, when they were asking Job, about all that was going on, knowing, understanding that God was omnipotent, he had all power, so they just assumed that Job had to have done something wrong in order for all of that stuff to happen to him. They did not understand that God was sovereign. Even in this case, God is sovereign. He allows Satan to do all of this, but only for a short period of time. Does that make sense? Brother Kent?
Well, I'm just thinking too, we got to understand too, this is something that's counterfeit. Even when the magicians, Janus and Jambres, did these tricks in front of Moses, they weren't actually using the power of God, but they were able to make a deceptive type of, just like a magician trick. You got David Copperfield who can, cause the whole Statue of Liberty to disappear. These people are going to have power in that type of way that's going to be deceptive. I wouldn't say, dogmatically I can't say that this power is directly God allowing them. I think it's going to be false. I think it's going to be something that's created to look like it's fire coming down from the sky. I don't think that God is actually saying, okay, Satan, show them fire. I think it's going to be a deception. That's what he's doing. It's a deception. And just like they fooled, the people that was in the court with Moses and them at that time, they fooled them. They thought they had power just like Moses, but they didn't. Their power was deceptive. It was like a magician's trick. And I think the Antichrist, the false prophet, going to have that same type of tricks. It's going to be tricks, but people are going to be deceived. It's a deception.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's signs and wonders. So when the fire comes down, and we're like, ooh, maybe this is the person who really has authority.
Right.
And the whole purpose for that is to deceive.
Exactly.
But it would be hard to distinguish, if you don't. How could you distinguish this fire to say, well, that's deceptive fire, and that's...
Well, yeah, it's going to look like fire.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's going to look like fire.
Right,
But yeah, but I don't think it's coming
saying.
directly from
Yeah,
God.
I didn't think that either at first. That's why I was wondering about Satan's access to heaven, if he even had access at all.
Well, he, as far as the signs are concerned, really what is the purpose of the signs? And so what it would look like, we don't really know. But what we can get from the text is what is the purpose of the signs?
To authenticate the message.
Validate.
To show proof.
Yeah, to validate.
Right, because in the book of Acts, when all of the signs and wonders are happening at the hands of the apostles, those signs and wonders are happening for what purpose?
Point to Christ,
To validate
the gospel, or who Christ is.
the message
Which-
and
Who they are.
the messenger.
Right.
And so these signs, albeit,
Same thing.
right, even the false ones, and that's the nature of Satan and deception, it is going to look
Like Satan.
real.
Right.
And
It's
there's
counterfeit.
just enough truth, there's just enough deceit in what you see as to make you think what you're seeing is the real thing.
Amen.
People
Right.
bring it so close
Right.
to make it appear as though
Right.
it is from the hand of God.
Right.
And those who are in him now, he will defeat us physically, but the spiritual ones
Right.
will not be deceived.
Right.
Now, here's it, and I want you to
They're
also,
spiritual, I mean those that are in Christ.
right, I get that. Here's another thing. 50 years ago, to go through Revelation, it would have been hard for us to fathom how this could happen.
Right. Right.
Right. Because see, I said that too in terms of like when what happened to the two witnesses.
Right.
I said the whole world was able to
Absolutely.
see. The whole world can see those things now.
Absolutely.
Just right in your hand, right by your phone.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't have been able to do that 30, 40 years ago.
Absolutely. Brother Art and then Sister Ross.
Just real quick, because, I come from a law enforcement background. I worked some different areas between local police. I worked a little bit with the FBI, and it ties into what we're talking about at this point. Everybody's focused in on that little boy that killed all those people. I'm not saying I know anything, I'm not saying, and when the FBI has something, they have it. Somebody sent that little kid in here. That kid didn't act on his own. That kid's protected at this point. You don't see people beating him up. You didn't see him rough him up. You didn't see him shake. That kid walked in there, shot people, put the gun down, and walked out with a purpose. Somebody sent him, and I'm tracking this from the Satan to the Antichrist to the false prophet. For some reason, I tend to believe he's the false prophet. And I mean, for everything that it looks like, Satan is Donald Trump. Donald Trump,
Yes!
he's going to somehow come out and fix this all and make everything good for everybody, because it's just, now I haven't figured out, I would hope that the FBI is not the Antichrist, but I'm saying, it just, I'm looking at the trickle down, it's all leading back to Trump. He's gonna have to fix something.
Yeah, here's what I think about that. Number one, we need to be praying for Donald Trump.
Sure.
That is what the scriptures say. Number two, there has been several people in world history that they would identify as the Antichrist. I don't think it's Donald Trump, and here's why. Because he doesn't have a large following at all. He had enough of a following to win the presidency, but most people don't like him. Wait. We're not going to turn this into beat up the president. But I get that. And I think in our minds, we're trying to figure out, okay, who could the Antichrist be? Could he be living in this day? Very well. Be very well living in this day. I don't know who he is, let me just say that. Now, you're right. That's good observation about the young man. What we can say is we know that Satan, he is behind it all. All of this stuff that's going on, we know that Satan is behind it all. And so it's easy for us, to get caught up into, the governmental schemes and all of that. Ultimately, we'll get into this here in the next few weeks. Ultimately, there is going to be a religious element that is going to surface within all of this. That's where the great deception is going to take place, when the religious element becomes a part of this whole dynamic. So hold on to that thought. We'll see Sister Rob.
Okay, so this whole idea about where you fire from heaven, when we're thinking about like a lightning strike or something like that, but nuclear weaponry is fire from heaven. Other kinds of missiles and projectiles create fire when it re-enters into the atmosphere. So it may not be something that is a natural,
Right.
military power.
That's true.